Okay, we'll go ahead and get started with our post-race media availabilities. We're joined by our winning crew chief, Rudy Fugle. Rudy, it's your 6th win of the season. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, wow, what a year and what a race. We had a really good stage 1 and lost some track position. Just making sure we pitted and didn't do anything dumb with our tires, trying to run long and didn't get ourselves in a pinch and had to work our way forward. And we passed a lot of cars and finally found ourselves in the right spot at the end. And once William sees a sniff of the lead, it's a good chance he's going to do well. So just really proud of him and the whole team.
Okay, we'll go ahead and open up the questions. We'll go ahead and start in the back here with Wyatt, and then we'll work our way through the middle.
Howdy, Rudy. Wyatt Watson with FrontStretch.com. Keeping William out there, having him stay out after that J.J. Ailey wreck. What did that mean to put that faith in William's hands and bring home that 300th win?
Yeah, I mean, at that point in the race, I think that's your best play with where we were. You know, if I think we were 7th or 8th, and so if we pit with majority of them, we're going to be 18th or 20th. It's an okay call to pit if you're going to be 10th or 11th. I think the 11 car was the first one on 2 rights, and I mean he got close to the front, but it worked out and it was a fairly easy call. We're just hoping with that long laps on tires that everything was going to go okay and the air was going to stay in them and everything, so that was good.
Okay, go ahead.
Justin Schuler kicking the tires. First off, congratulations. Earlier in the race, we saw a lot of tire issues from a variety of teams. Where does the concern start to come in when you start to see that from various teams? Because obviously, if it's one team or one manufacturer, that's one thing. But when it's such a wide variety, when do you start to consider like maybe some more conservative strategies or laying the news and starting to talk about that with different team members?
Yeah, I mean it's. For these type of racetracks, it's everything. It's the whole week. The whole week is based around what air pressures and what cambers we can run and how long we can run on tires. So, with all of our key partners and all of our teammates, it's a nonstop discussion from Tuesday all the way till now. So, and it's been that way for at least a year now. This race last year was tough. So we were prepared for that, and we were able to share information and kind of when they had his issue that. He thought he was really confident that it was a contact and not a air pressure or anything like that they did damage to the tires. So you just try to get that information and try to make good decisions.
Okay, over here.
Rob Tiongson from thepodiumfinish.net. Rudy, congratulations on getting Hendrick's 300th victory and getting your ticket into the round of 8. 2 questions for you. What statement do you want to say to your critics who are saying, well, what happened to the pace of the number 24 team after the regular season? And then secondly, what is it with your chemistry with William that makes you guys work so well together?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you, but I'm just believe in this team no matter what. And I don't do social media. I don't really read or watch any of that stuff. I don't watch anything NASCAR really during the week, especially during the playoffs. I'm busy enough as it is. So I didn't know anybody was saying that about us. So I thought we had a decent round. Nobody had to talk about us good or bad, and nobody talked about us on the cut line. So that was our goal for the first round. I've been through a ton of different types of playoff situations and rounds and 1 point and 5 points and in the trucks and won tons of championships every which way. So I have a way that I want the team to do things and we're doing that. So that's the main thing and then William and I just always had a great relationship, and we can trust each other. We have each other's back, and that just breeds into the whole team. So that's the key.
Okay, any more questions? Go up front to Bob.
Bob Pockers, Fox Sports. William said that there was one point today where he pitted when you wanted him to stay out. So I'm curious, before the last, when you made the decision to stay out there at the end, did you do anything different to make sure that he knew what you wanted him to do?
Yeah, I mean, so early in the race, I mean, we talk through things. That's one of the main things that we always try to do. And I tell him what I want to do. But he's driving the race car. He always has a chance to change his mind. And that's kind of, he didn't not understand me or anything like that. He he was worried that he was going to get too loose, staying out on tires to start stage 2 and not be able to survive. And he spun out in Kansas, so I'm sure that's in the back of his mind. So he's just not one to do any of those things. So he thought the safer play was get 4, and he apologized later in victory lane for doing that, because I think we would have been in a little bit better spot. But it is what it is. We're a team. We work together, and it made us better. It made us realize what we were good at, how we can get the car better. We were able to get 4 or 5 spots kind of every single run, which I don't know many people did.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Rudy, a milestone day. Jerry Jordan, KickTheTires.net. Milestone day for Hendrick Motorsports for you guys. But coming into the season, did you think this would be, a dominant year? I mean, you guys are really on fire and hitting really, continuing to hit at the right time.
Yeah, I think we've grown. This is year 3, so we've grown every single year. Year 1, we won that race early. We had confidence going. With a lot of consistency. We didn't have race winning pace like the 9 and the 5 did our teammates, but we were good. And then that grew into last year, where we were leading more laps and won more races, and then we kind of had some ups and downs. A big slump in the summer, but then I thought we were awesome in the playoffs last year. I mean, it really, really outpointed a ton of people, and it had Martinsville not go our way, and some of the things that happened there to keep us out of the Final 4. And then we went to Phoenix, and we ran really well as well. So I knew that playoff run was gonna give us confidence over the offseason to get where we are now. And yeah, I think we can. We would like to be winning and running in the top 3 all day, every week, like we did at the beginning of the year. But we're working towards that. It's tough, and we're continuing to find speed in our cars. The engine shop, showed up today. They're really, really working hard and finding more power, and just everybody.
Any better at the timing with Talladega being next week? I guess you breathe a big sigh of relief.
Yeah, for sure. With our points cushion, we kind of have 2 goals. We set ourselves in the 3 races. We think that if we earn this many points, and we know what that is every round, that we're going to advance and or you get a win. So those 2 things are on our mind. We wanted to score big points to get us at least halfway to the point goal or win the race. So winning the race is huge. Now we get to go help. We get to go help the 5. We get to help the 9. We get to help our Chevy partners next week. We don't have to be as stressed about what happens, and we can just try to go get more playoff points, and that's a big goal.
Okay, we're going back to Wyatt and then up to Dustin.
Hey, Rudy, Wyatt Watson, FrontStretch.com again. With the win now being locked into the round of 8, looking towards Las Vegas, obviously winning there earlier in March, and Martinsville winning last year, does that give y'all a lot of confidence going that you'll go to the championship 4?
It changes. This series changes so fast. It's so cyclical. So we're gonna have to bring our A game to every one of those races. Somebody will find more power. Somebody's gonna find more downforce, and somebody's gonna find more setup, grip in between now and then. So we'll go to work on that and bring all we can to those races. They're races that we're excited about for sure. Homestead is probably my favorite track. I've won the most here, one of my favorite tracks, but and then I like Las Vegas. William does as well, and Martinsville. There's nothing like it. So we'll try to acquire those points, or if we're in the spot, we'll win that race.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Rudy, as you talk about the success you guys had last year during the playoffs and the things that you built upon, and as you reference, a couple things go right. You're in Phoenix potentially. In one sense, that's a very short period. It's been less than a year since that. But I'm curious, what is it like to build toward from that moment to this? And you're still a few races away, but to run 30 races, is it a quick time, long time, and what is that period like and how tough it is to be in those moments and to be able to have an opportunity to potentially put yourself in that situation again?
Yeah, it's a. This whole deal's a grind. This season's a grind. It's tough. It's tough to stay up, and it's tough even when you're winning. It's tough to stay up and keep going. So it seems like forever ago that last year happened, but just remembering the process and the whole team believing in the process and how the things work and how we want to approach each race and each round and whatnot. I think that just becomes a habit, and the more habits you can be, habitual winners, habitual running the top 5, then it's just easier, right? And it's more common. You don't get as high, you don't get as low. You know that you're going to be a strong team with a chance to win. So that's kind of what we've been trying to prove.
And I understand all that, and the 36 playoff points going into the playoffs and into this round. How does that, I guess, impact or affect any decision making? I mean, I know it's still all about the process, so that I know that's not going to change. But how does the 36 points, or does that even play into anything that you do or think about?
Yeah, no, it's huge. I mean, it's 41 now. So we have, the next round, when we get to the round of 8, we're going to know, on average, what it took to advance to the Final Four. That's each year, on average, what it takes to advance. And if you start with 41 and then say it takes 120, then you only need 80 in 3 races instead of needing 120. So that's the thing. So anytime you can put some in the kitty, that's great.
Last thing is, obviously you guys came into the playoffs tied with the 19 team. I know you can't control anything that they do, but I mean, they haven't finished better than 17th. In one sense, that could have been you guys in a way, which is how the playoffs do. When you look at how that team, because they were tied, I guess just how volatile the playoffs can be, how scary is that in a sense?
Yeah, I mean, since the next gen car, the playoffs are super volatile. It's just hard to go get a victory. You have way more cars that are competitive that are super hard to pass, especially by the end of the race. We used to not have to have that. You'd have 12 cars that were competitive in the playoffs, and now if you're 21st, it's really hard to pass any of them cars. They're all super good, especially by the end of the race. Great drivers, and so it's easy to get set back at the wrong point and get a bad race. So that's where the points cushion is huge, and just sticking with it and being able to come back for like we did today was great. Yep.
Okay, we're now joined by our winning driver, William Byron. William, 10th win of your career, 300th for Hendrick Motorsports. Tell us about your day.
Yeah, it was a really good day. I think it's kind of one of those days that I knew it would be a grind from start to finish. Just honestly, we kind of advanced forward quicker than maybe I expected and got the stage 1 points and felt good about that. And then just the sequence in stage 2, I just made a mistake and pitted there, and Rudy made the right call, and we restarted 25th or wherever we were, and it was just really hard to go forward after that. But we kind of slowly inched our way forward through stage 2 and got ourselves to like 15th, and I felt good about our race car. Like we had good confidence, like I could do what I needed to do and pass people in the long run. So I felt good about that. And then once we got in the top 10, it was just kind of picking one off each 6, 7 to 10 laps, and once we got a sniff of probably the first 2 rows, our car was great up there, and just needed a couple of good restarts. I just didn't hit the sequence of restarts very well. The first one was pretty good with Kyle, had pretty good push there, and just couldn't get clear. And then the next one after that I was terrible on, and then the final one I just felt like I got a good launch and knew what I wanted to do and wanted to, and got a good run off at 2 and put it 3 wide, and that was kind of it. So felt good about that to end on a good one, but yeah, just really happy about the win and everything it means for the company.
All right, that's great. Before we open up the questions for William, do we have any more questions for Rudy? All right, my friend, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and start with Rob and then go over to Wyatt. And then we'll come on over here.
Rob Tiongson from thepodiumfinish.net. William, congratulations on your victory here at Texas. Just 2 questions for you. How much of a relief is it to win this early in the round of 12 and not have to worry about Talladega and the Charlotte Roval? And then secondly, in your case, what has been the most inspirational or empowering quote from Mr. H that's really engaged you as a driver?
Yeah, first off, just making the round of 8 is an accomplishment in itself. I think, for us and where we are with our team, the round of 16 is definitely, would be a big disappointment not to make it through. But the round of 12 is tough. You don't really control your destiny at Talladega, and then the other 2 could go either way. You could have a good car, you could have a bad day and crash or whatever. So that makes it nerve-wracking in this round, so it's always an accomplishment to get to the round of 8. So excited about that. And then, win 300 and everything that Mr. H has meant to me in my career so far. And I don't know if it's one quote, but just how he values people and just how people make things go. And I think that I've always valued that because he's taught us and instilled that in us. And, I think getting a good crew chief like Rudy and just getting people around me that believe in each other and just makes all the difference.
All right, let's go over here to the right.
Mark Garrow, PR.
Go ahead.
We good? Okay. Mark Garrow, PR. And first off, William, congratulations. Did you feel like at any point as Kyle was out front that you still had maybe a chance to win this race, or had you kind of conceded that this just wasn't your day? When did it kind of dawn on you, maybe I got a chance?
To be honest, I wasn't thinking about the win. I just couldn't put myself in that mindset where we were running. I mean, we were running fifth to sixth, and I felt like that was going to be a good points day. And I think, honestly, for me, that's what I had to focus on. Like, I can't give up free points. So I was just trying to focus on my job. I think my crew chief had more optimism that we had speed to win, but I was just thinking about trying to, get to the end of the race and get a 40 to 50 point day. So once Kyle crashed there, obviously the door was open, and I think the first time it was open, I didn't do a good job with the restart, and so I was kicking myself for that, and then was able to nail the last one. So I think after it all transpired there with 11 to go or whenever, that's when I thought I had a shot.
I understand it in the preseason, Mr. Hendrick put the 300 on the table, that it was important to him and he wanted you guys to go out and get it. How does it feel now that as a team, right, you guys all pitched in, you got the 300th, but that you actually got there for him?
Yeah, it's really special. I think it's, growing up a Hendrick Motorsports fan, I watched win number 200 on TV when Jimmy won that race. And I always felt like, obviously, the gold standard was Hendrick Motorsports. So if I could ever drive for them, once I started having success in my own career, that was the goal. And when I met Mr. Hendrick when I was 14 at Junior Motorsports, I told him that was the goal, to drive for him. And I didn't have a lot of confidence that would work out, but I was going to put it out there. And when we met again when I was 18 running the Truck Series and sat down, I just had the confidence that he was going to take care of me, and he's going to put me in the right places to succeed. And he committed to me, and even through my rookie season and 2019 and all those years that I was kind of struggling, he just committed and kept encouraging me. So I'm super thankful to him, and to give him 300 is really cool.
Okay, we'll come back to Wyatt and back over here.
Wyatt Watson with FrontStretch.com. William, congratulations on the win and continuing a career year. Looking at the last 4 races, you have a career win at all of the last 4 races coming up. What is the confidence level now that you have locked the first place in the standings coming into the round of 8 and then going to Phoenix?
Yeah, it's I'm a bit reserved. I think we've got to keep working and keep steadily kind of climbing our way forward. I think there's a lot of good teams out there. So it's really hard to get ahead of yourself with this next gen car, because it's really all about nailing the setup and nailing the weekend as a whole, giving the right feedback, all those things. So still have some work to do there, on my end, but I think we're very capable of winning at all the tracks. It's just a matter of trying to put it all together. So I'm excited. I think we have opportunities there, and hopefully we capitalize.
And what does it mean that your team gave you that confidence going into staying out on those last 30 laps to get the win?
Yeah, I wasn't worried about it at all, because I felt like our car was just starting to handle really well. So we were kind of catching the top 4 guys there, minus Kyle, and I felt like Kyle was probably lights out the best, and I felt like we were right there behind him. So just trying to manage that. And I felt like when we stayed out, I wasn't worried about the tires or anything. I just felt like I needed to nail the restarts, and I didn't. And then I finally got a good one at the end.
All right. Now we are now joined by NASCAR Hall of Famer Rick Hendrick. Mr. Hendrick got win number 300th. Tell us how it feels.
Well, it feels good to get to 300. We've been thinking about it since 299. So I'm proud of all the drivers that have driven at the company since we started, because every one of them have participated in this 300 wins. So it's really, really good to see William get it. And, he's had a heck of a year. So we're really, the whole organization's proud, because we put these marks. We have glass on the wall, and every time we have a win, we put another flag up there. And so it's good to get to 300.
That's great. Go ahead and start over here.
Cameron Richardson, NASCAR.com. My question's for William. William, back at Phoenix in March, you said that your career's a constant evolution. Now, as a 6-time winner in 2023 and, looking like a clear favorite to win the title, where does that evolution stand now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're still working on it. So I think, there's still ways to get better. I felt like this year it's easy to kind of look at the wins and be like, okay, we're there, we're doing everything we need to do, and we are, but we got to keep working and keep improving. So it's kind of it's an evolution. I feel like we went through a little bit of a lull with the bigger racetracks, the high-speed tracks, just what balance I needed in the car. I think I was looking for a car that was a little too free. So just trying to figure out what that balance is and go fast with it. And I felt like today we kind of did that. So I feel really good about the future, but we got to go to the simulator on Tuesday or whenever and try to work on Vegas, because we don't have to focus on, the next two.
All right, let's go over to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, kicking the tires down. And I'm going to ask both of you this question. I'm going to let you wait because I want to see what Rick has to say first. If I'd have told you when you met with him when he was 14 years old that he'd get your 300th win, he'd have 6 wins and locked into the next round of the championship playoffs as a favorite, what would you have said?
I think I would have said you're crazy, because he did walk up to me at JRM very determined, not cocky, but I'm going to drive for you one day. And then my neighbor told me, he said, you see that little Byron kid driving that truck? And so I said, that's William. And so I called him, and the rest is history. But he's such a great young man, but to be honest with you, with no more experience than he had, and to step into Xfinity cars and do what he did there, what he did in the trucks, and how quick he's learned. He's a student, and he spends a lot of time in the simulator, and he's got a work ethic. I mean, I don't know if everybody knows this, but he went to the toughest school, private school in Charlotte, Country Day. At the same time, he got his Eagle Scout badge, and he was taking courses at Liberty, and he won that Grand National Series.
Yeah,
and any one of those would have been pretty sporty. I don't think I could have done any one of the 4, but that says a lot about his tenacity and his work ethic, and so I'm real proud of him, and I'm just thinking about how he's progressing and what the future looks like with he and Rudy together.
Your turn.
I don't know what to say to answer that. No, I think, to your question, when I watched as a kid, they were the standard, and I was a big Jimmy Johnson fan. And so I think that, as I progressed in my career, obviously wanted to be with Hendrick Motorsports. And when he got with me when I was 18 years old, I think it was in July of that year, running the Truck Series, and I had a lot of questions of what I was going to do next, and he just gave me the confidence that he was going to take care of me, and I just, he trusted me, and I don't know, I just appreciate that so much, because I went through some struggles my first couple of years, and he would always encourage me and always pick me up, and it's paying off now. We've got a great team and starting to put it together.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, Dawn Hall with TrackSmack Radio. First of all, Mr. Hendrick, congratulations on 300. William, congratulations to you. And as a mother of a very recent Liberty University graduate, congratulations to them as well. So,
Thanks.
listen, as a local media person, I want to talk to you a little bit more about this track and the changes or your thoughts on this race this weekend and how this track seems like it changed. I mean, 22 lead changes among 13 drivers. It seemed to me like we were seeing some really good passing and some really good racing going on, despite the heat that I think was playing a bigger part than what we all kind of thought that it would too, with cars being very, very slick as well. Your thoughts on the track, and did it race differently this weekend than it has over the last few years?
I don't know. It just seems like with this racetrack, it takes a long time for it to get good, you know, and it seems like we start the weekend and the track's real treacherous. There's a lot of wrecks, and then as we get further and further along in the weekend, it just gets better and better. So I don't know how to get there quicker, but you know, it is pretty racy by the end, and there's a lot of action on the restart. So yeah, I loved it obviously, but yeah, I think it took a while for the track to come in for sure.
Go front. Yep, up front. And then we'll go to Steven and
Mark Garrow, PRN, Rick. I don't know what it says about me, but I've been there for all 300. I was just starting out.
That means you're old.
Yes, it does. But I remember you guys going to Martinsville in 1984 and Jeff winning that race, and how it was kind of all on the line right then. It was, you know, we get this done or maybe the door's shut. And now we fast forward and we're talking about your 300th win. Can you talk how the first one kind of saved the day and catapulted you to this?
Yeah, Harry, we didn't have a sponsor, and the deal was Richie Petty was going to drive and Kenny Rogers, and everybody left me with no driver and no sponsor. And so Harry, and we talked to Jeff Bodine, and I think we wrecked at Darlington, and I said, Harry, we got to quit. We don't have any money. We'll start back when we get some help. And you know, once you shut down, you're not going to come back. And he said, well, let's go to Martinsville because Bodine's good there. And we went to Martinsville, and I wasn't at the race that day. And so, yeah, I think about that a lot. You know, the twists and turns in life that, you know, if you've not been in the right place or hadn't been in Atlanta to see Gordon, if I hadn't up at JRM and William, and then my next door neighbor, who's a friend of his dad's, called me and said, hey, you've been watching this kid. So, you know, we've been blessed. We've had, I think about it a lot, the drivers that I've had, and I think the most rewarding thing to me is to see guys like Chase, when I think I met him at 14, and become a champion, and William, and Jeff, and Jimmy Johnson, and the crew chiefs. So, yeah, I'm very, very, I think about it all the time. Had we not won that race, it wouldn't be a Hendrick Motorsports, and it wouldn't be 300 wins. So I'm very, very, very thankful for that.
When did you know as a team owner that you guys had finally solidified enough, like, okay, now I'm good to go? I was on the edge. We got the win. Did you immediately know, like, okay, we're good to go on the big roll, or was it a little bit later on you felt your team finally had the legs to be there for good?
No, I'll tell you, Randy Dorton, I wish Randy was here to see all this, because Randy was his engine shop was going bust right beside us and Harry's, and we won 3 races that year. I mean, it was amazing. I mean, I went to Daytona, and the year before I went to Daytona, I think we finished 10th. I was standing on top of a motorhome and couldn't go in the garage area with Raymond Beadle. So I mean, and then the next year I'm there. But when we won 3 races, and we won that last race, I think, and after we got a partial sponsor, and then we got Levi Garrett, and they came on board, and then we got a call wanting me to run another car, and I knew Tim Richmond, and so once we started clicking like that, and did some innovative things with 2-car teams and sharing, and yeah, I think about how close we were, but then I think about if you could come in this sport today with 5 employees, and Harry Hyde was making $500 a week, and 2 of the other guys were volunteers, and that's what we went to Daytona with, and so from a very humble start, you think about what it takes today to come into this sport and be able to compete or win a race in your first year, let alone 3 races. So I'm glad I don't have to start now. So.
Okay, we'll go back to Steven.
Steven Stump, frontstretch.com. This is for Rick. Rick, obviously in 4 decades of cars, for fielding cars, it was win 1, win 100, 200, 269, now 300. At what point did win 300 at what point was win 300 something like insurmountable, unreachable, and when did that become a goal?
I don't think that was ever, the 300 wasn't a goal. 269 was a goal to tie and beat Petty's record. And so that was a goal, and I never thought we'd get there. So we started counting down till we got to break that record. And once we got to 269, then everybody started talking about 300. And, you know, we had a heck of a year in 20 and 21, won a lot of races. And I guess we won 10 this year with the $1 million race. But it's hard, and I'm not thinking about 350, I tell you that. I'm going to enjoy 300 and see what happens. I'd like to win another championship.
Thank you.
Come up here to Rob, and then over to Jerry and Dustin.
Yeah. Rob T. Oxen from the podiumfinish.net. This question is for Mr. H. Mr. H, congratulations on win number 300. 2 questions for you. What are the intangibles for you to determine the people you've brought on to be a part of your organization? And secondly, how much does it mean to accomplish this milestone, carrying on the dream that you and your father built back in 1984?
Well, you know, I'm in the automobile business, and I started that exactly like the racing. I had 5 or 6 employees on a little deal that was busted, and today we got 11,000 employees and 100 dealerships. And I don't know how that happened either, other than it's people. The secret in any business you're in is people. And if you surround yourself with good people and take care of them, you know, my top 6 guys in the automobile side have been with me a minimum of 25 years. And when I look at guys like Jeff Andrews and, like I said, Randy Dorton had so much to do with building this organization because he was more than an engine builder. And we attract good people, and we try to hire people, and we'd like to promote from within. Chad's started on the 24 car as a tire changer. Alan's been with me, that's the crew chief on the 9. He was an engineer with Gary DeHart. And so our guys have kind of grown up in the company, and we've kind of got a character and a way they work together. And it's not easy to have 4 cars race each other. And tonight when I went out on the pavement to take a picture with all the teams, you know, I felt for the other 3 guys because they wanted to win, but only 1 guy. And then I reminded them, all of you guys have contributed to 300. I mean, you know, we wouldn't have it without you. So I think any business that you're in, it's about people, and we take care of our people, and we treat everybody like a family. I grew up on a farm, and that's one thing my dad taught me, is you have to depend on your neighbors, and so I've had that philosophy all of my adult working life.
Okay, go ahead, Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net again. Mr. H, you mentioned Martinsville in your beginnings and things of that nature, and we talked about that before. But when we hear reports of charters at $40 million and things of that nature, what are your thoughts on that? And is that a sustainable business model when a charter typically brings probably $5 to $10 million in prize money a year.
Yeah. It depends. It's like going to a car auction. All you need is two people bidding on a car, and then it brings all the money. And until someone's sold and closed for that kind of money, it could go the other way just as quick. But thank NASCAR for coming up with a charter that gives us something of value that if we didn't have it, our parts would be 10 cents on the dollar. So if you worked in the sport and you've got a charter and you want to retire or, it's time for you to get out, you should be able to get something. I think Bud Moore and Junior Johnson, those guys wish they had a charter, because they put all their life into the sport. When it's over, it's like, what have you got to sell? So I think the charter is a great thing, and I think it's going to be driven by the amount of people that want to get in the sport.
Okay, let's come up to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports, just to kind of follow up on that. How confident are you that the charter system is going to remain in place as you guys work through a future financial plan with NASCAR beyond next season?
Yeah. Well, I think the charters are going to be there. For all indications are they will be there, and we're getting close. I think I haven't been in the negotiations, but I think they're wrapping up things. You might know more about that than I do, but I spent a lot of time with Jim France when I was at the 24-hour race, and he wants to see the sport grow and go. He wants to build a fan base, wants to go to new tracks and do new things, and so I think NASCAR is. I think we'll get everything sorted out, and I think there'll be charters. I don't have any inkling that there's not going to be charters.
William, you talked earlier about and Rudy even talked about the, I guess, inconsistency of results in the next gen era because of the competition. Yet, here in the last 6 races, you won a couple times, 5 top 10s. You put together a nice little stretch here. If you look at your season results, there was a good run of 6, 7 straight top 10s, and there have been some runs where there haven't been, just in terms of that. To have such a good run or solid run at this point, with still 6 more races to go to the end of the season, at least 4 that significantly matter in terms of the championship and the next round in Phoenix. What's the challenge, or how difficult is it to maintain that? Because it doesn't seem like people can, like Rick's used to seeing, Jeff scoring 20 straight top 10s or something like that. That just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think the results are really individual when they happen. You just have to be super disciplined to get results. I feel like you can, because it's all so close. I looked at the lap times from practice, and it was the first place guy was a 05 and the 30th place guy was a 40. So it's so hard, and so I think you just have to be really disciplined to grind through the times that aren't so good and get the balance of the car right and just make your way forward. So I don't honestly look at the last 6 races. I don't think besides today and Watkins Glen where we really, really contending, but we ended up with top 5s and top 10s, and it's just tough. So I think you can easily, if you let your guard down going into a weekend, you can easily end up with a 15th to 20th place finish. So it's really trying to just approach each weekend as its own thing, and that'll apply for us when we go to Vegas. And when we get through Vegas, we'll go to Homestead and approach it like it's a completely different race.
Since you talk about the grinding, and again, I understand, you work really hard, and you did last year to get what you to go as far as you did. Is there, I don't know, more grinding when you look back at last year you could have done, or is it that experience? Because for as difficult it is, is there something you got out of that that's helping you put together? Maybe it's an 8th place finish instead of a 12th place finish or 15th place finish, or maybe it's getting a couple extra stage points in a stage
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, I think I just look back at my whole career and look at the moments that I just got too excited and jumped the gun and made a mistake. You know, so I think last year, even looking back at last year's race here, just, you know, getting emotional, getting just caught up in the moment too much in terms of emotion and not really staying in the moment and making the right decisions. So I think this year has been different in that way. Like, I find myself, when I have chances to win, it's almost calming. So I feel like for me, I just kind of stay present, and I've worked really hard to manage those emotions that come up, you know, throughout the race. So yeah, I think it is, for me, it's a grind mentally, I guess, more than physically, but it's just the grind of kind of staying in it. Mm-hmm.
Thank you to you both for coming in. Appreciate you guys' time. Good luck next weekend.
Thank you.